Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Storytale Staging inside of our Home Staging TV YouTube channel. I'm your host, Tori Toth. We're going to get some insider secrets today from one of the fastest growing home staging companies in Los Angeles, where they staged nearly 250 vacant properties in 2021. And did I mention it's only her second year in business? Please welcome Alexandra Parrish from Revolutionized by Design. Hi.
Hi, thank you
How
so
are you
much for
doing?
having me.
Of course. I love your story. So let's talk about why staging, first of all. What made you decide to get into staging?
Uh, well, I've always been drawn towards design. I started in sets when I was about 19 years old, doing commercials and videos here in Los Angeles, and I wanted to be a production designer. But there were really no women production designers then, and I had to work twice as hard, move twice as fast, and you know, kind of prove myself to keep up with all the guys on the crew. And it turns out I was really good at loading a truck and doing Tetris. Um, but I soon got very wary of the freelance nature of doing, commercials here and there. And it's a very network based system, the film industry here. So it was really hard for me to get a job. So I ventured off onto many other career paths. And eventually, it's such a weird story how I came back to design. I was a business manager and I ended up working for a very well known designer named Timothy Corrigan. And then I briefly did some business management stuff for a stager. And I thought that was interesting. I didn't really know much about staging at that time. That was in 2009 or 10. And after that, I went on to work for a really well-known interior designer. I ended up running her company for 6 years. And when I was there, I thought it might be really fun to start a staging branch. And we talked about it a lot, and it never happened. And I kind of got sick of being in the interior design industry. I was not an interior designer myself. I just ran the company, and I did, all the operations. I did some textile design. And, eventually there were a couple of projects that we did that were not for clients. We did a lot of stuff for TV because we had a Bravo show called $1 Million Decorators. And we did a lot of commercial shoots. And I ended up styling all of those because I was the only one in all of her team that could actually emulate the work that she did. So I tried to get her to start the staging thing. She wasn't interested in doing that. And eventually I kind of got disillusioned with interior design altogether. I just felt like it was very frivolous and, very demanding clients, lots of crazy emails in the middle of the night. And I wanted to get out of the design business.
It's two very different things, right?
Yeah.
Like staging and design, two completely different beasts.
Totally different. Yeah, they're two different mindsets as well. And I combine them in my own personal way, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I ended up starting a nonprofit interior design company. Is how this whole thing transpired, and then I left that design company, and I went to work for the biggest staging company in I think the whole world, and I was hired as creative director there. And that sounds like I got a great education there, but that's not, I don't share this story with everybody. I'm going to share it here now. Some crazy things happened there. Within a few months of my starting, the entire upper echelon of the company was fired. And she came into my office one day and she said, "You don't want to be stuck in an office all day, do you?" And I said, "Being out in the field with clients would be fun." And so they moved me to sales. So they kept me on my nice salary and they moved me to sales. And it was very challenging for me. It was very challenging for my ego. I said, I came here as creative director and now I'm a salesperson, and there's nothing wrong with being a salesperson, but I'm not a salesperson. I've never done sales in my entire life. And, but I stayed, I stayed and I observed and I got to know a few people. And a few years in, I went to lunch with some realtors, and everything was a problem. Everything, the answer was always no from this company. And the clients were getting really upset, and I'm a problem solver by nature. That's always been, I get into it, it's exciting to me to fix things. And I just kept going, gosh, these things are so simple to say yes to. I don't understand why you're creating all of these problems. And these two realtors said that I should start my own staging company. And so I started thinking about it, and it took me about 2 years to finally pull the trigger. And I left, and it was really scary at the beginning. I didn't know, if this was going to work. It was kind of a pipe dream for me. I'd done some interior, I had been doing interior design on the side for a while, but again, it's very different. It's a very different mindset. There's a whole marketing strategy behind it. You have to know everything about every neighborhood that you're going into, because here in Los Angeles, there are so many micro markets, and what flies in one is not going to work in another one. And so you have to be really versatile, I think, anyway, to succeed here. And so, I started one job, and that one job got me another job. And, I have found, to my great, great, great surprise and delight, that the real estate community here is so incredibly supportive. They keep referring me to other realtors, and it snowballed. I knew 2 realtors, and that's where it started. And it just kept going and going. And now everybody that I work with, they're all, new realtors to me. And each new one that I work with seems to come on board like full throttle with me. They're excited too. It's because I think, I don't know, my philosophy, again, because of all of that other stuff that I saw, my driving philosophy is to say yes. Yes, let's see how we can do that. Yes, we can do that in this way. It's lead with yes. Lead with yes, then find a way to make it work. Not yes, I can stage your 10,000 square foot house for $5,000, but yes, I can stage a couple of rooms in there for that.
Yeah.
And that's when you lead with yes, and you're not saying no, and you're, being accommodating, it's very well received, and we started out, we did 100 properties the first year. And mind you, I started in December of 2019. So that was with a 3-month shutdown, unable to buy furniture. I had to drive to Las Vegas to buy furniture a few times and rent a truck and drive back. It was crazy. In like June of 2020, I think my bank account got down to like $52 or something.
Oh.
It was insane. But I survived, and now it's thriving. And I thought doing 100 properties was challenging and, growing so fast. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm just looking at the day to day. I have to do the pace of this business is so fast that I have to look at what's in front of me. What do I need for these jobs, and just go forward with that. And by the time when I counted them up, I couldn't believe how many jobs it was. So that's a lot for one designer. I've got a great crew.
Yeah, you're definitely staging most of the days out of the year.
Yeah, we offer 6 days a week. We offer Monday through Saturday. And quite often we are, and that's not just staging. We have move outs as well. I've got to go see all of those properties before I stage them too. Yeah. Sometimes more than once. I put about 30,000 miles a year on my car, just driving back and forth, and it's funny because people kept saying to me, other people that own staging companies, they keep saying, you're going to get burned out. You're going to get burned out. I said, no, I hate it when I'm not, like, I have found something that I'm so passionate about and I feel so fulfilled by, that if I'm not being creative and getting out there and doing stuff, I don't know what to do with myself these days. And it's so fun. I bring my son to work with me on Saturdays. He's 9. He's learning how to accessorize.
You could be a good asset to your company in a couple of years.
Exactly. I highly recommend cheap child labor. That's how I did it. No, just kidding. But yeah, we say yes, and we're double booked, triple booked quite often. I can do up to 5,000 square feet in one day. Um,
Wow.
and I have a really well-oiled machine. It took me, the first year was not. The first year crew great. I got a referral from somebody, and we managed to build this amazing team together. And that's, we're talking about kind of philosophies. I wrote down a little list of the things that I think are, why.
Yeah. What are your company's philosophies? Like how do you
Well,
live
number one
by
is,
how do you live by your laws there and revolutionize
yeah,
by
well,
design?
it's funny. And again, what I've done is not necessarily for everyone. They may not want to be willing to make the sacrifices that I've made. They may not be willing to let their bank account get down to $52. you know, um, but for me, it's commit. I I wrote this little thing at the beginning of the year this year about how I started this thing because I was looking for autonomy, and I wanted to be autonomous because I wanted to be able to say yes and kind of make those decisions that I felt were not being made wisely with some of my previous employers. And uh, you know, in my search for autonomy, though, it's funny. I found that the only way for me to be autonomous is through symbiosis with other people and through finding other people, and we kind of swim through this together. Like my clients know that they can absolutely trust me and my crew with their clients. So that's really important to me. But it commit, meaning I'm going all in. So I'm all in on this thing. I'm all in financially. I'm all in with my time. I'm willing to sacrifice whatever I need to sacrifice. I put on 50 pounds, like from the stress and eating lots of cookies to relax at night. And I knew that I had to go all in. I felt like this was my one shot of making something for myself, of myself. Uh, that I'm passionate about. So I went all in. That's number one for me. Um, Number two, stand out. It's funny. A lot of people that I've run into, a lot of realtors that now know that I have my own business, have come to me and said, "Oh, you stage a property for me. Can you do it like that old company?" And I said, "No. Why would I do the same thing that there's 50 other stagers in Los Angeles that are trying to emulate that particular look?" So, I've tried to bring my set design, interior design background, and staging background all together and create really unique looks that are also versatile. And that's my next thing, is to be flexible and versatile. So again, in Los Angeles, there are so many micro markets, as I said, and what flies in one area is not going to be in the other, and to really listen to what the realtor is saying they want, because we have to remember, realtors, they also have their own brand, and they want their website to look a particular way too. So having communication, and being willing to be versatile and flexible, that's been a real great key factor. I do $500,000 condos, and I do $45 million homes in Bel Air. They're two very different looks. They're not going to work. You don't put the same stuff into that condo that you're going to put in that house. And that's one of my favorites right there.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually pulled some of your photos too, just to show the audience. And we've got a couple of people on. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. If you have questions for Alexandra or myself, please put them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer them. But your looks look completely different. And so exactly what you're saying.
This particular image here, and not just that particular image, but what I really try to do is I try to marry staging, the spatial definition of staging, and how it's going to be shot, etc., and mix that with the fullness of interior design. So that's kind of what I go for. And I do many different styles.
Yeah. So you mean you go from this to like this, completely different.
By the way, can I just tell you that? So I got a phone call today. I knew that house was in escrow. That we were going to move out of it. It's a 10,000 square foot house that that we staged, and they are buying everything. So I'm getting a $174,000 check cut to me.
Wow. Wow, they're buying everything. See, you
They're
made
buying
it look so
everything.
good.
Yeah, I know. I'm really sad though. There's a few things in there that I really wanted to keep. I guess I'll just have to
buy them again. Yeah, and then
good one.
Something like this. I love like the different accessories that you bring in, and it definitely your looks have personality. You know, it's not just that vanilla staging that many stagers try and stick to.
No, well, I don't. I mean, and that kind of goes down to one of my other philosophies is that, you know, as I said, my little teaser was, you know, my rule breaking. I have to tell you, I've never liked rules. I've always been a rule breaker. And it's funny. I hear these things that, you know, it has to be this, it has to be that, you know, to me, I mean, and again, I'm in Los Angeles, so there may be markets out there where you can do things that are, you know, you've got a particular setup that you do for every room, and that's just how it is. And, you know, you just go and pick out, it's the same sofa, same two chairs, and you just get your pillows color laid down.
Yeah.
We can't do that here. Like, it has to be unique. And so, yeah, I love to break the rules. I love to, you know, I'll put a bed in front of a window, which is a, you know, kind of a no-no, but it ends up looking fabulous, you know, and it's all about making the room look its best. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I go all in.
How much furniture do you have? So how many houses can you stage at a time?
I got up to about 70 at a time. So I started 2021 in 25 properties at a time, and I ended it with about 70. So I still had some stuff in the warehouse. So I probably had, you know, maybe five properties that I could have staged with what was available in the warehouse. But I mean, it comes in and it goes out so fast. I don't have a big warehouse. I have like a 4,000 square foot warehouse.
That's
so
pretty big.
I would be in big trouble if everything came back. Really big trouble.
Oh my goodness. So I love your philosophy. Tell us a little bit more, like what's it like staging in LA? You know, you mentioned that there's all these different pockets where different people want different things, but like
I mean, it's fun because I do get to be creatively challenged every day, you know, and that's that again, another one of my philosophies is I always find something in a property that I love, no matter what it is. You know, it doesn't matter if it's run down. I find something about it that I love, and that drives my design. You know, it pushes me to give my best on every single job that I do. You know, so that's important to me because if you go in and you hate it and you know there's nothing good about you're not gonna be as driven to pour your heart into it and to make it look the best that it can possibly be. You know, we sell a lot of our staging because of that too. You know, people just they love how we put it together. We make it feel so full. It's really funny. One of the biggest compliments I ever got was from a realtor, and it's going to sound like it wasn't a compliment to start with. So he uses one of the big ones that, you know, it has really fancy stuff, and he only uses them, and decided to use me for this one condo. And I told him I didn't want him to be there. You know, I said, you got to let me do my thing. But he starts seeing stuff come in. And this happened a few times, even in, it's happened a few times when the clients are there, you know, comes in and like, you know, oh, I don't know. That doesn't, you know, that looks kind of cheap. Like, where'd you get that? I said, you know what? Let me do what I do because you have to see the complete picture. It's
Mhm.
all the layers that go into it. And so when he came back and he saw that it was done, he was like, oh my God. He said, I've never seen, they stage properties all the time. He's like, I've never seen one this well put together. He said, you don't use, on that particular property, I didn't use really expensive stuff. He said, but it doesn't matter because the way you put it together, it looks so rich and so full. And I said, yes, that's what I do. Like that's
Yes.
the magic right there.
Textures, layers, patterns.
Yeah, I can't put $25,000 sofas into property. I mean, I would be out of business,
Yeah.
So, but I got to make it look like it could be that. Again, it's that my set design really comes into play here because I know how to make something look a certain way without doing it. I just recently did a job and they wanted Japandi style, and I do not have one piece of furniture that is actually Japandi, but I know the feel of it. And so, I brought in those soft tones and layered in the right way and did, some interesting minimalistic things with accessorizing and placements of things. And they loved it, but it was, there was nothing that was, per se Japandi specific, but it has that feel to it.
Feel. Well, and that's the most important part of staging, right? Getting that feel, that emotional connection.
Yes.
Kiki has a question here. Where do you draw your inspiration to stage the homes? What style of decorating is most popular where you are?
Wow. Well, again, there's a lot of different niche markets here. So, but what I found recently to be what everybody really likes is, I call it like a mid-century bohemian. And you can see some of that in there. It's the clean lines, either mid-century inspired or more modern lines, but you add layers of texture to it and softness and warm tones and make sure there's lots of green coming in and wood to give it that comfort feel. Since we've had COVID, people really want to know that they can be comfortable in their homes in case we ever get locked down again and can't leave. So kind of showcasing the home in such a way that it looks like if you're going to be laying on that couch for 3 months, you're going to be super comfy.
Yeah. No, I love this one. And even these, your style is definitely
all over the place.
Amazing. I know. I want to say eclectic, but it's not even like eclectic.
It is, but you know what? But it truly is eclectic. That house, that's the house that we're just talking about. They're buying everything. That was this amazing modern house, but they wanted it to have kind of an Art Deco feel to it. And again, I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of Art Deco stuff because I'll never use it again. But I brought, I made it a more modern, like a contemporary Art Deco homage. And apparently it worked because house sold and they're buying everything in the house.
I love it. What, talk about your company's logistics. Like how many people do you have? How many stages do you do a day? You mentioned you have the 4,000 square foot warehouse,
Yes.
Trucks scaling all of that so quickly.
Yeah, I've got 2 trucks and a pickup truck, which is very important just in case, we've been using air mattresses for a while. So it's very important to have something that run and change. We're switching those out right now. But logistics, I've got a crew of 7. And those are all the guys that, move the stuff, load the trucks, and then help me with the install. And what's so great is that several of the guys can make beds. They are starting to learn how to do the bathrooms. And, they open the pillows and they put them on the bed and a lot of what I do is what an interior designer would do with an interior design assistant is they come in and they tweak it. I really focus initially when we're at the property on the spatial planning when we're there, because for me, I pull some extra stuff. And I honestly, I hear a lot of stagers pre-plan. We're too busy to do that. I pick everything out unless it's like a property that I'm, huge property that I've got a month to plan for, that I have to buy a lot of stuff for. I pick out everything the morning of, and go through, tag it all. They pull it. If we're doing 2 installs, it goes into 2 different trucks. We do 1 at a time, and then when we're unloading, I start, we start placing the furniture and pulling the rugs, and that's kind of when all the magic starts happening. I don't bring a sofa and a love seat and 2 chairs for a living room necessarily, but I will bring. I pick out stuff that I think kind of, it's the same way I do interior design. I pick out things that I think could be intermixed. Maybe those chairs will go in the living room. Maybe they'll go in the master bedroom. Maybe they'll end up in the family. Like, that's kind of how I do it. And it really makes the creative process on site happen. And there's an energy behind that, and that's the thing. Like, my crew laughs all the time. We've such a great time doing jobs. It's great because it's such hard work, especially for them, lifting and moving, and sometimes moving things again, because I'll say I don't like something, it's not working.
Yeah.
We got to change it. Like, I want, this credenza now is going up there, and the rug underneath that bed that's coming back down here, because I want it to be perfect. Or as perfect as it can possibly be. And
no, but I love your inventory.
We can install, up to like a 2,000 square foot property. Takes us about 3 hours when we get there. So we're pretty fast. We're pretty quick.
Well, you need to be efficient, right? If you're going to be able to get in, get out, and get everything done.
Do more than 1 a day. Yeah, we try not to. I really, I do the whole calendar, and it's constantly, it's musical properties. Like, I'm constantly trying to move things around, and we'll add a move out wherever we can, and we only try to combine small installs, that are located as close together as possible. But we always find a way. There's usually some flexibility, at least with the move outs. There's some flexibility, so we can, kind of bounce a little. Oh, that one was fun. That was a cute house in the east side. So, and there you get to be more
color in.
Yeah, I love color. I would say that I probably use a lot more color than most other stagers do. I love it. I mean, my house is full of color. As you can see some of it here.
Yeah. What about, and then like this. So your style is definitely flexible depending on like what you're saying, where it is you have to stage.
That was a modern farmhouse in Pasadena. And that is a much more conservative kind of area. Although, again, it really depends who the realtor is, because there are some realtors that want you to go super eclectic. There are some that really want it to be clean and white. And again, it's really, really, really important to communicate with them. I mean, I've heard other stagers say, like, doesn't matter if they like it. And it's like, it absolutely matters if they like it. The realtors are the ones that are hiring us, essentially, or referring us. Like, our relationships are with them, and so we have to keep them happy, and we have to make them look good.
So how do you position yourself differently? I guess, is that one of the ways, trying to work with the agent?
Well, again, we say yes. I mean, we say yes, like that. Whatever you need. And I do, though. I'm very direct with people, and I do preface things by saying, if I really firmly believe that it's a wrong decision, or it's not going to be right for the property, then I'll say something. That's, and also knowing to do that. Like, I know when to push back, and I'm not afraid to push back. But you have to do it in a way that's also gentle and really explain why. People respond to logic pretty well. And I also lead with this with clients when I'm talking to clients. I know that we are assisting in the biggest transactions in people's lives. Like these are life changing transactions for most of the people that I stage for. And I really take that to heart. I really carry that with me, that this is everything for them. And so I'm going to give them my everything too, because it is so big. And when you kind of lead with compassion and love, and saying yes, it comes back. I mean, it's crazy just how much support we have. Literally every realtor that we work with doesn't go to anybody else anymore, and they're a fickle bunch. They're a fickle bunch. We offer a really great product at a good price. My philosophy again is I started Revolutionized by Design as a nonprofit. So I was never doing this to try and get rich. And I'm willing to put everything back into my company. I'm willing to invest in the people that work for me. I'm going to make my crew chief a partner. I want them to feel just as supported too. Like I can't do this without them. And that comes back to that whole, trying to find autonomy thing and realizing that I found it through finding support, and it's all symbiosis, and it kind of has to flow together like that in order to work. And for me anyway, I find when I lead with my heart and honesty and bringing my best foot forward in every area, whether it's with my crew, whether it's with my vendors, who have helped me to really shape the looks that I do. And a lot of these are like women. I have found some of the most amazing women doing this work that supply my furniture. They're my vendors. And I've got a fabricator who makes all of my beautiful wood pieces. So it really makes our looks kind of stand out because they're all one of a kind pieces.
Customized.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Again, that's why, like, also rule breaker. Like, most business people are like, it's about the bottom line. It's about making money. It's profits. It's this. It's that. And I was a business manager. I ran other people's companies, and that drives people. That drives people to heart attacks. Like I don't want. I get stressed out about money every single day. And it's not to say that I'm not stressed out about that. I do worry all the time because it goes out just as fast as it comes in, especially when you're growing this fast, because everything has to be put back into inventory. Like I had to buy everything to grow all those properties. Like I couldn't do it without that, so no holding back with that stuff. And that's, again, it's just, I think that I'm genuine, and people see that, and I follow through.
What's been one of the hardest?
I do good work, that's.
Yes, you do amazing work. I love it. I love all these pictures. What's been one of the hardest things that you've had to conquer as a stager so far?
Wow. Oh, I had a property that I did, and it was a beautiful property, and it was in the Hollywood Hills, and I told the client, I met with the homeowner and the realtor, and told them exactly what I was going to do. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do as far as the style and everything that came in. And the homeowner didn't like it. And she wanted a bunch of changes, which we never get. We literally, like, I've been asked for changes 5 times in all those properties. And so there were a bunch that I adamantly disagreed with, and I thought they were completely wrong. But the realtor said, like, I told him, I said, I think we need to push back on this. And he said, no, we're not going to. It's just give her what she wants. I said, okay. Okay. And so I couldn't be there on the day of the changes. And she art directed everything. I mean, things had a place where they were going, but she even moved more stuff around and did more changes. And then after 30 days, like nobody came to see the house. The pictures looked horrible. I mean, the photographer did a horrible job too. And she fired the realtor.
Wow.
She fired the realtor and said it, and kept complaining about the staging. And then it was so funny. She got a new realtor, and that realtor came to me and said, "Oh, we just want to make these few changes." And it was literally changing everything to what I had it before. And I said, I know that she's not going to like that. And I'm not going to go and do all that to put it back to how I had it originally, just to have her come back and make, change it again. And so they had me take the staging out.
Sounds like a control issue with her.
It was. And the funniest thing is, that the house was listed about $500,000 more with the previous realtor, and then it was staged horribly the second time, and it was listed $500,000 less, and it sold. Wow. It just, so again with that, sometimes things like that you can't please everyone, and that's another one of my philosophies is kind of no ego. I got to leave my ego at the door with this stuff, especially in a situation like that. It made me sad that happened. But I'm also not going to get walked on and do something that I know is exactly what they don't want, just to go and do it again. I mean, that's a day's work for
us. I think you cut out for a second.
I don't know.
So do you have
just no ego with this stuff? You've got to learn to acquiesce at times, and learn when to keep your mouth closed at times.
Exactly.
Which for me is kind of hard. But oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're so what's one tip that you would Yeah, do you hear me? I think we're having problem issues.
No, I can.
Okay, good. So final question here. What is one tip that you can share with someone who's thinking about starting out? What should they focus on first?
Building relationships, because ultimately that is what it comes down to. It's all about relationships. The realtor who kind of mentored me with this stuff he said to me, it doesn't matter if you lose money on a job. He said, what matters is that your name is out there, and it's not somebody else's name out there. He said, so, underbid, know that you're not going to be profitable right away. If you're doing full stages, if you're doing complete stages, you're not going to be profitable right away. It takes about 3 times of a turn of inventory for you to get paid back. And, if you kind of go in knowing that, and maybe you can supplement it with doing consultations or, other things like that. But just to be patient and to remember that it's all about relationships that we make, and cultivating those. That would be, and again, and also, it's, you're looking at all these designs, and I would not say that most of them are my taste that I do, if you can believe that. It's design is not about what my taste or what I like. It's about or staging, I should say. It's about what's best for the property. It's about what's best for that particular market, and it's about what the realtor wants to present it as. And if you kind of approach it with that, and not, this is what I do, and this is how I do it, and that's how it's going to be, then I think you can go very far.
Yeah. And so that kind of was touching what Kiki was saying here in this comment. So basically you can definitely add your personal touches and still deliver for the customer. I think you need personal touches, obviously, in staging.
Absolutely. I always find at least one area that's all me. There's always something in a property that is 100% me, my taste, my style. It might just be a pillow, but there's always room for that.
I was seeing a lot of elephants in these pictures. Are you an elephant fan?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there was actually a period where I was doing that. I'm an animal fan. So there's a thing. So back when I was doing interior design, you go to these show houses, right? And like my joke was, you go into a show house and you look around, and it's like, how many dead animals can you get into a room? Because there'd be, like just everywhere, just horns, furs, shells, you name it. And so with staging, it's kind of, how many animals can I get into a property? I love using animal art and animal tchotchkes. That's kind of my get down.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it brings good energy.
Well, Alexandra, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us here on Home Staging TV. Where can people follow you, learn more about you?
I would say my Instagram is the best place, and that's you can either find me under my name, Alexandra Parrish, or at Revolutionized by Design, all one word.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today, for sharing your comments and questions. And if anyone's watching the replay, have a question, make sure you leave that in the comments below, and we will either get it to Alexandra or I'll be able to answer it for you as well. Alexandra, thank you so much for joining us again. Seriously.
Thank you so much, Tori.
Have a good one, guys, and we'll see you next time.